So happy that I get to talk about it now. I snuck into a theater on opening night and just watched from like with my baseball cap on and my mask and just kind of like, in fact, I was actually with Toby. Me and Toby snuck into a theater together. No one knew we were there. It was just a really beautiful thing to share together and to find a brotherhood with Toby as well and with Tom and the fact that we have shared a very unique experience. Like, first and foremost, I am a fan. So when Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige and John Watts asked to have a word with me and talk to me about an idea and they pitched it, it was like your little head just explodes. I was the fans in the audience watching it on screen for the first time with like the three Spider-Men across universes are sharing a frame together, and then the fact that I get to be one of those people wearing the suit next to my actual Spider-Man hero Tobey Maguire and the brilliant, incredibly talented, heartfelt, funny, good, sweet, perfect Spider-Man of Tom Holland, and then I get to be the middle brother, and I get to be like in awe of my older brother and in full longing to protect my younger brother. I mean, never say never. I mean, it's a character that's always going to be so meaningful to me and so beautiful to me. And again, it comes back to service. I think if there's a way for me to continue to add to the legacy of that character in a way that feels of service to an audience, of service to the themes that Stan Lee, injected that character with, I'm open, of course. I'm very, very open. But it would have to be very, very special. It would have to be very, very meaningful and fun and joyful.
So Andrew Garfield is finally talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's quite literally the most wholesome thing to grace the internet in a long time. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is SUPES Ramos. Now let's talk about Andrew Garfield talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. For starters, it's nice to see that Andrew's finally a free man. He's had so many movies come out this year, and he's just been bombarded at like press junket after press junket with just non-stop questions asking him about his involvement with Spider-Man, and he put up Oscar-worthy performances even though he was capping. We all knew he was capping the entire time. He put up Oscar-worthy performances of just completely denying that he was involved with this movie at all. So it's just so refreshing and so, I guess, fulfilling to see that now Andrew is off the leash. He can finally talk all the spoilers he wants. And knowing how much of a fan he is, he's been waiting to talk about this movie for the longest time. And finally getting to see the passion and just him expressing himself and his excitement for this movie, it's just the best thing ever. Andrew was asked what it was like to be a part of No Way Home, and he said something along the lines of, wearing the suit next to my actual Spider-Man hero Tobey and the brilliant, incredibly sweet, perfect Spidey of Tom, I get to be the middle brother. I get to be in awe of my older brother and in full longing to protect my younger brother. This is the most wholesome thing ever. And honestly, guys, hearing Andrew talk about Tobey and Andrew as if they are his actual brothers, like, it gives me a different perspective of Andrew's performance in this movie. Because, like, after watching the movie like 7-8 times in theaters, I appreciated Tom, I appreciated Andrew, I appreciated Tobey. But hearing Andrew really talk about, I guess, his perspective of his character in this movie, now I see the movie through Andrew's eyes. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I watch the movie again, I genuinely see Andrew as that middle brother. And his Peter, after suffering the loss of Gwen and all of the loss that his Peter suffered, he wants to protect Tom's Peter from experiencing that same pain and, again, kind of going down that dark path where he stopped pulling his punches and he started literally putting people in the dirt, and he went down a dark path and he didn't heal correctly. But that's what this movie did. This movie gave Andrew's Peter some sort of healing, which we didn't get after The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And Andrew even talked about how this movie gave him closure with his character. He said, it was joyful. There were so many unanswered questions from my Peter where we left it. I got to step back in and get some healing from him. And it was actually the part where he catches MJ that really sold him on this movie. Like when Amy Pascal, Kevin Feige, John Watts all came to Andrew's door and pitched him this film, that was the moment that really sold him on coming back to play Spider-Man. And Andrew's even open to coming back for more films as Spider-Man, which we all want to see happen. #MakeTasm3. But Andrew said, if there was an opportunity to step back in and tell more of that story, I would have to feel very sure and certain in myself. So essentially what Andrew's saying is that he wants to come back. He wants to continue to play this character to the end of time because he's genuinely just a fan. And honestly, when I see Andrew play this character, that's why I resonate more with Andrew's version of Spider-Man than Tobey and Tom. And Tobey raised me as a kid, guys. Like, I grew up watching the Tobey movies. I've never had, I guess, a set of movies impact my life more than those original Tobey movies. But the reason I resonate the most with Andrew's version of Spider-Man is because he's just, you feel the heart, soul, and passion he has for this character and this role. And it really shines through his performance. He actually revealed in this interview that he improvised the line in the movie where he says, "I love you guys." And that's because he genuinely was just in the moment loving Tobey and Tom. And after watching the movie, I told my mom that, like, that was all Andrew. And after, you know, him coming out in the interview and finally being able to speak of this movie, it actually was. He improvised that line completely, and it's that, again, it's that passion that completely shines through his performance. But in regards to him potentially coming back for more, he wants to come back for more, but he wants to make sure it's done right. That's why he says, I would have to feel very sure and certain in myself, because he doesn't want to come back and get done dirty again. I mean, as much as I love the Amazing Spider-Man films, and I love those movies, but we can't ignore the mistakes that franchise made in trying to do too much all at once, to the point where, you know, the story kind of collapsed within the Amazing Spider-Man 2. And I love that movie. But again, it didn't do a great job in continuing to set up the franchise in a way that the majority of fans wanted to see it all go down. And that's why these studios make these movies, to please the majority, not the minority. Regardless, I still love that movie, and I think I speak for all of us when I say that we all love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and we would all love to see him come back for more. And honestly, after the entire world losing their mind over Andrew Garfield in this movie and him dominating all of the headlines, I find it hard to believe that Sony isn't having those conversations to bring him back for more projects. I mean, I think it would be an amazing idea for him to be the Sony Spider-Man. Have him be the Spider-Man of the Venom movies, of Morbius, of those kind of films that are separate from the MCU, but are still kind of within the multiverse, I guess, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, have Andrew be the Spider-Man of those movies while Tom still does his thing in the MCU. And then they could find a way to coexist. I mean, I feel like we're in a day and age where I guess audiences have matured to the point where we can differentiate Andrew's Spider-Man, Tom's Spider-Man, and we can appreciate both of them at the same time. You guys know me, I've said that Andrew Garfield has been my favorite Spider-Man for the longest time now. Even though I believe that, like, I don't compare Tobey to anyone, Andrew Garfield has always been my favorite Spider-Man, and I would definitely love to see him come back for as many projects as he can possibly come back for. Bring him back for Multiverse of Madness, bring him back for Secret Wars, bring him back for, I don't know, like, literally anything and everything. With that being said, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys want to see Andrew Garfield come back for in regards to his future as Spider-Man? And what do you think of the comments he's making now that he's finally able to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home? If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, hit that bell notification on my channel to get notified when these videos come out. I love you guys for 3,000, and I'll see you guys next time.